Hi everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Tina and I'm the Capability Building Coordinator for Connecting Up and TechSoup New Zealand. Connecting Up is a part of the Info Exchange Group. Info Exchange is a not-for-profit social enterprise that has delivered technology for social justice for over 25 years. With over 100 staff across Australia and New Zealand, we tackle the biggest social challenges through the smart and creative use of technology. I'd like to welcome you all to the webinar, Putting the Social into Social Media, which will be presented by Brianna Graydon from Pink Cow Social. We'll start with a little bit of housekeeping. All lines are muted, so if you have any technical issues, please type it into the questions box on your webinar panel, and I'll be able to assist you through there. If you have any questions during the session, please also type it into the questions box, and Brianna will answer them in the Q&A section at the end of the webinar. Please note that your comments and questions will not appear to the entire group. If you are on a Wi-Fi connection and have multiple programs open, this can sometimes affect the quality of the audio and video of the webinar. If possible, please close all other programs to help you have the best experience. Please note that the webinar is being recorded, and a link to the recording and the slides will be sent to you shortly after the webinar ends. Before we start, I'd also like to remind you that there will be a short survey at the end. We'd appreciate it if you took a few minutes to provide us with some feedback on today's webinar. That's all from me for now. I'll hand it over to Brianna to get things started. Thanks, Brianna. Sorry, Brianna, you just muted at the moment.
All right, is that better now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Amazing, thank you. All right, everybody, welcome to Putting the Social in Social Media. As Tina said before, my name is Brianna and I own and run a small social media business called Pink Cow Social. And today what I want to do is I want to talk to you about how to put the social back in social media. So many of us are so time poor when it comes to social media that what we often find that we do is we actually just create a post, post it up online, and then kind of walk away and not actually have that interaction or that engagement that our audience needs, wants us to have. Currently
Sorry,
want.
Brianna, you've just dropped out completely. We missed the last part that you talked about.
Okay.
Sorry, we can't hear you right now. You're just dropping in and out.
Right, is that better?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Great. So as I was saying, so today we're looking at defining engagement, looking at what certain platforms want in terms of engaging content, looking at what's worked in 2019 and what the forecast is for social media trends in 2020, as well as looking at some usage stats and businesses that are doing social engagement really well. And there are some great ones out there that are actually investing in social media and taking the time to do that well. So let's kick start. So a little bit about me is I'm a lover of all things social media. I am a mad AFL fan. Supporting the Sydney Swans, not this year. I'm a crazy tea drinker. I drink 4 cups of tea a day. I have a cat called Chanel. I love R&B music. My favourite holiday destination is Hamilton Island, and I dislike licorice, snakes and spiders. Now, I'm sure you're all probably sitting there wondering why this is relevant. Well, I like to actually do what I'm telling you guys to do. All the barriers and actually letting you in to my life and letting you into a little bit about me, because this will help people feel like that I've actually dropped all of my walls and I'm being authentic and I'm giving people an insight into what makes me tick on a daily basis. So that is a little bit about me. And if you haven't already on social media, really important that you do give people a bit of an insight into you. Even if obviously you're running a social media platform for an organisation, still give them a little bit of an intro as to who is actually running the social media. It's really great for people to have that face to the name. And I think that that's really crucial to help you build connections with your followers on social media. So here are some realizations that a lot of people didn't actually think social media kind of had this impact. Now, Matt Goulart first said that social media is about the people. It's not about your business. Provide for the people, and the people will provide for you. And I think that's really paramount in today's society. People on Instagram these days think it's all about collecting likes and all of that, and it's not. It's about connecting with people. So what exactly are you doing to connect with people? Jeff Bezos says if you make customers unhappy in the physical world, they might each tell 6 friends. If you make customers unhappy on the internet, they can each tell 6,000 friends. Now, I'm sure Jeff was probably slightly exaggerating there, but it's so true. In a world where social media is at our fingertips, it is so easy for people to actually share their thoughts and spread negative word of mouth if they're not happy with something. And as we progress through the slide deck, what you'll see is that customers have huge expectations in terms of how quickly they want you to respond to something on social media. So stay tuned for that one. And lastly, Susan Cooper, and I really love this. I love a bit of alliteration. Engage, enlighten, encourage, and especially just be yourself. Social media is a community effort. Everyone is an asset. So again, it is about engaging people, okay? Don't talk at them, talk with them. What are you going to share with them that's going to make them go, oh, I didn't know that? And what are you going to do to encourage them? Okay, you want people to want to stop the scroll on your actual feed. You want people to go, I love this account. I know when this account's posting something great. And you want people to talk really positively about your account. Now, I do some work for ADA New South Wales. I work as their social media executive and student engagement. And we really make sure that we are giving valuable pieces of information to the audience. So we're obviously sharing information about oral health education, and we're sharing things about new campaigns that come out, and information on fluoride or whatever it might be. It's really about engaging, enlightening, and encouraging people to actually want to follow your page. All right, you want them to make that commitment to follow your page. All right, so this is generally how I feel. I am a lover of all things Christmas. So this is how I feel when I hear the word social media engagement. Now, I know that there are a lot of people that do not feel as excited as I do when I talk about social media engagement, but I feel like this is what people are like. I feel like people often look like this cat or look like this dog, and they just think social media engagement is just another thing that I have to do in my already busy day, and they just can't see the benefit of it. And obviously, I don't want to be the person that says to you, hey, this is something else that you have to do on your day. But for you to have really effective social media, it's really important that you engage. And I'm going to give you some tips on how to do that. So I suppose the next question is, what is engagement on social media? What does it actually mean? Is it simply just liking a photo, doing the double tap, or is it actually just about, sharing something to a story, or what exactly is it? Well, I want to put this question to you, and I want you to say, what would I want people to do with my information? When they post something, okay, or when you post something, what do you want people to do? Do you want them just to like it? Do you want them to comment? Do you want them to save it? Do you want them to share it? Do you want them to send it in a direct message? What exactly do you want people to do? And I think that's really key. Every time I go to publish a piece of content, either on my platforms or the platforms of the clients that I manage, I always think, what is the purpose of this piece of content? Right? What is it trying to do? And what response am I wanting from the people that I am putting this information out to? If you can think about that before you publish posts, you will really change the type of content and the call to actions that you include on those posts. Really having that clear purpose is really key. So what is engagement? All right, so social media engagement is creating a long-lasting relationship over time. It's interactions between a customer and your brand. So there is an expectation on businesses these days and brands to engage on social media with their audience, okay? It is not just posting something and walking away. It is actually about engaging. So things like likes and follows and shares and comments, they're all things that you want when you put something up on social media. So a fantastic example would be recently on my Instagram account, I put something up about some apps that I had been using previously throughout the year. And I just literally said, here are some things that I think would really make your life so much easier. I spoke about the 4 apps. that I felt, were really beneficial for me this year. And I had an enormous number of saves on my post. So what does that tell me? That tells me that people are liking that type of content that I am sharing. They are saving that, which generally means that they're either wanting to potentially use it later or go back to it later, or they read it and were like, yeah, I really need to, take note of these. That's really important. That metric of saving something is really important. Also, commenting, all right? Commenting is really a massive commitment for people to do. It's so easy to like something, but when you comment, you are actually taking the time to share some information or kind of give your, applause or give a comment, and that is what takes time. So when you get comments, they are worth so much more than likes, all right? Because now people can obviously see the comments, but likes, there's such an easy thing to give to somebody. So I'd be really focusing on comments and saves, as well as, share. So whether people share things in direct message. They are the key metrics that I really want you to start to focus on when we're looking at engagement, because that's what's going to show you what content people would like. So I have a story, obviously, with this particular slide here. I don't know how many of you have seen the movie Pretty Woman, but I'm just going to set the scene for you here, because when I think about not engaging with people, this is exactly what I think about. So for those that have seen Pretty Woman, you will be aware of this scene. For those that haven't, I'm going to set the scene for you. So Julia Roberts walks into a really prestigious, luxurious fashion store. And, she's kind of wearing not, really classy clothes. So she walks into this fashion store. She is on the lookout for some clothes, and she asks one of the salespeople how much an outfit is. And they say, oh, it's too expensive, or they say, you won't be able to afford this, or something like that. Now, straight away, she goes, well, that's not the question, and she was far from impressed. And she walked out because they didn't engage with her. They didn't obviously give her the time of day. They just assumed that she couldn't afford it, and they spoke down to her. Then, a little bit later, she goes and she spends quite a bit of money at another store, comes back in to this store that she didn't perform, or didn't really get any clothes from, and then says to them, you work on commission, big mistake. And she holds up these bags and she shows them what they missed out on. So that is what happens when you don't engage. You have the ability to miss out on clients, miss out on sales, potential lost income. You're not connecting with people. You miss brand awareness, and you've got a lower chance of word of mouth exposure. Think of what she could have done. If this was a business, she would have gone, oh, they didn't serve me. They were rude. They were obnoxious. All she has to do is tell a few people, and then that will get around. So put that situation into your current situation and just say, if someone's commenting on your social media feed and you don't respond back, well, what does that tell them? Does that tell them that you're not interested? Does that tell them that, you're too busy for potential members or potential clients? What does that actually tell them when you're not commenting back? All right, you need to be engaging on social media, even in things like stories. If you put a question out there, you need to comment back to these people. What happens when you do engage? All right, so you build a community of people who are your biggest advocates. These are the people that are absolutely going to promote you, and they're going to talk so positively about you, which is worth its weight in gold. Your product or service is likely to be recommended. Okay, you'll be considered an expert or authority in that field. You'll develop that know, like, and trust factor, which is what so many people want these days. All right. Also, you'll have more of a connection with people, and that's what you want. You want that genuine connection. Now, 92% of people trust what they hear from a family member or friend. 75% trust what they hear from a stranger on the internet, whilst fewer than 20% trust what they hear from a company. So we really need to change that, and we really need to build that credibility. But if you are positively engaging with people, okay, that's where word of mouth is going to come in. So why should you care about engagement? I know there's probably people rolling their eyes because it is something else that you need to do throughout your day that is going to take time. I'm going to be truthful with you. It is going to take time if you do it properly. but there are so many benefits, all right? You build brand awareness, which is fantastic. Okay, social media is great for building brand awareness. You nurture current relationships with people. What a fantastic thing to do. Continue to have relationships with people on social media. You never know where those people are going to get you or where those people are going to connect you to in the future. All right, relationships are key on social media. Effectively deal with customer service at an affordable cost to your business. So they've recently released some statistics that say that social media is 6 times cheaper than a call centre. So the kind of thought with that is that people are going to be moving more to social media in terms of giving feedback and sharing their experiences, and questions are going to be asked more so than potentially call centres in the future. So really understanding the importance of social media for your business is key. And for the clients that I manage, they do get a lot of direct message, which is great because that's people obviously, again, trying to build that connection and continue that relationship with those clients. Now, 63% of respondents cited a good digital care experience as very important to their brand loyalty. And I can 100% agree with this because if you have a good relationship on social media with somebody, you are likely to then go to them for business. And an example is every time somebody follows me on my business Instagram, which is Pink Cow Social, I will always send them a message. How are you? And start to build that relationship with them. Why do I do that? That takes me time. Well, because that's what I want to do. I know that it's effective. I know that it works. And it really makes people feel special that you have taken time out of your day to reach out and have a chat to them. That is also how you build relationships. I have got quite a lot of business through social media because of these steps that I take. And it's really about having that conversation and investing the time. So here is a bit of an example of, I suppose, the social conversion. So what this talks about, and there's another example that I'm going to show you in the next slide, which is like the social journey. It's just kind of showing you that, you know, consumers actually need to see your brand a certain number of times before they actually make a commitment to purchase or join or something like that. So you really need to walk them through a journey. All right, so you've got to, they'll be considering it, they'll be evaluating it, you know, they'll be looking at whether they've got a bond with a company or people at the company, you know, they'll be kind of looking to see whether or not that it's been a good experience. Am I going to join? Am I not going to join? Am I going to purchase it? Am I not going to purchase it? And this example here gives you obviously the exact details. So look at the first one, consider, okay, this is the first interaction with you. So the relationship starts, all right? So when people have their first interaction with you on social media and the relationship starts, what is their experience like? All right, are you sending them a thank you message for following your page? Are you commenting? Are you saying, hey, we've got new followers this week on your page? Are you saying, thanks so much to all the new followers that have joined our page this week? Or what are you doing to actually positively say, hey, our relationship started, we're excited? The second step of the social journey is evaluate. So your fan will look at your product or service, okay? So they know you very briefly. They're going to look at what you have to offer. And then there's going to be that continued conversation with your customer or fan. So it might be you liking some of their posts or them commenting to you or you commenting to them or you sharing something or something like that. There's just that relationship building is still happening. Then your fan becomes customized. So they might buy something from you. They may join. They may, you know, buy a course or attend a course, or they might buy something that you have to offer. Then advocates. This is a continual process of nurturing. Advocates are the best thing for your business. If they have had a good experience, they are going to speak positively about your business. So, for instance, if you were offering, you know, training courses or something like that, and as soon as they walk in the door, they get greeted and they get beverage and they get some lunch or they get some breakfast, and, you know, it's just the aircon's set lovely in the room and the presenters are great and everyone's polite and friendly, all of that will help in turning people into advocates for your business. So it is that continual process, again, of nurturing. And if you haven't already, I'd really suggest that you do a bit of a customer journey map. So, you know, the touch points that you have with your customer, you know, and kind of where you'll be kind of interacting with them, what kind of emotions you want them to feel, what expectations they may have, and actually just kind of planning that process out, because that's going to be really beneficial for you. And that's something that I've done as well for people that I have interactions with. And then experience, nurturing again, you want to keep them as a fan, and you want them to potentially come back, re-attend that course, or repurchase that book, or rejoin that subscription, or repurchase that service. You want to keep them coming back. And the thing that will do that is the positive experience. So that's something that I would, as I said before, consider the customer journey map, and obviously embedding the social journey into that. So I'm just going to walk through this quickly because I want to get to the juicy bits about, obviously, engagement strategies. But I did think it's really important to talk to you about the top social media platforms that I use in my role with clients. Now, the first one is Facebook. Now, I'm sure you'd all be aware that Facebook adds 500,000 new users every day. So 6 new profiles are created every second on Facebook. Now, this information is from Brandwatch, so you're most welcome to go and have a look at that. Users spend an average of 20 minutes per day on the site. In a month, the average user likes 10 posts, makes 4 comments, and clicks on 8 ads. Now, in a world where organic reach is really deteriorating, and obviously these days you kind of have to pay to play in terms of social media advertising, really, really, really important that you get people commenting on your feed, okay? Or you get people clicking through that ad. All right, so we need to make sure that it is engaging for people. Instagram stats. So Instagram now has 1 billion monthly active users, which is absolutely insane. 63% of Instagram users use the app every single day. Now, engagement with brands on Instagram is 10 times higher than Facebook, 54 times higher than Pinterest, and 84 times higher than Twitter. Again, this is from Brandwatch. So really interesting statistics there showing you how important engagement on Instagram is. And lastly, LinkedIn. Now, LinkedIn is just a platform that is so underutilized. A lot of people still believe that LinkedIn is purely just for the recruitment side of things, and it's not. It is a fantastic networking tool. Jump on, add me on LinkedIn, tell me that you have been a part of this webinar, and I would love to connect with you. So 2 professionals join LinkedIn every second. LinkedIn now has over 500 million members. Just under half of these are women, which is interesting. And LinkedIn profiles with photos get 20 times more views and 36 more messages. So just remember that photos, because we're going to start to talk a little bit about things that are going to happen in 2020 and what's been happening in 2019 that's been successful. So this was a really interesting visual that I found, kind of showing you what consumers' expectations are like these days. Now, people's wait time expectation for consumers is 0 to 4 hours. So they are wanting a comment back within 0 to 4 hours of them commenting or posting or asking a question or something like that. The average brand response time is 10 hours. So I just want you to have a bit of a think about that. 0 to 4 hours is the consumer expectation. 10 hours is the average brand response time. How is that going to leave the consumer feeling? All right, if you've left a consumer waiting for a response for 10 hours and their expectation is 4, they're probably going to either lose interest, feel deflated, or really just go, well, they're not worth my business if they're not able to respond to something within the expectation of time that I had. Now, I understand that 0 to 4 hours might seem unreasonable, but set up some social media or social listening tools, and that way then you can be notified, and make sure your notifications are on, obviously, for your variety of platforms. So that then when somebody does comment, you get notified, and that way then you'll be able to act accordingly. So let's start the exciting thing. How are we going for time? All good. So the first thing that I wanted to talk to you about is really simple, okay? How do I engage? The first thing is knowing the right time, right place, right platform, and right audience. So right place, right time, right platform, and right audience. What this means is looking at your insights and seeing what days and times work best for your audience. There's no point you posting at 5 a.m. if your audience is not online at 5 a.m. because you are posting something that is super valuable, that has probably taken you hours to create, and the number of people that are going to see your post is so limited because your audience isn't online then. I'm not saying that it won't get views. It most likely will get views, but your audience and your target audience is not going to be online. Post at varying times on varying platforms. Now, I am very anti-sharing things from one platform to another. Okay, I do not like sharing things from Instagram to Facebook. All right, and Facebook doesn't like that either. So post things at varying times on varying platforms. Shake it up a little bit. You don't want people reading the same message at the same time on the same day. Change your messages, as I mentioned before, so that you're not sharing the same message across both platforms, and look at what platform is right for your message. So I tend to have a very different approach to LinkedIn than I do on Instagram and Facebook. So Instagram is a bit more fun, a few more photos of me, a little bit more of an insight into what's happening, whereas LinkedIn is a little bit more corporate professional content. So understanding what platform is right for the message that you have to share is really important. And I feel for the industry of not-for-profit that all platforms, if used effectively, can be very successful. All right, so let's start with the 10 tips that are going to help you engage. Write compelling copy. So many people underestimate the importance of writing compelling copy. Make sure that your writing talks with the audience, not at them. All right, if you are just constantly bombarding them with information or talking to them and, not actually engaging with them, they're going to, not comment. They're not going to have any ability to comment. You need to make sure that your tone of voice is inviting, all right? Don't have a really angry, tone of voice. Make it professional but fun. Ask questions to encourage comment. Give value, give statistics, give a quote, give a quick tip. And that's exactly what I try to do across the platforms that I manage. I try to give value, whether it might be, a quote, or whether it might be a little tip on how to do something better on social media, or how to, dress for success, or how to save time with Christmas shopping, or whatever it might be, okay? Really important that you give little quick tips. And statistics are fantastic, especially if you can put them in the form of an infographic, because everyone loves visual. All right, so that's a really fantastic tool, getting infographics and actually putting the information in that. And write about current events and topical issues. Now, daysoftheyear.com is a fantastic website. When you go to this website, what you'll find is that there literally is a day of the year dedicated to something. And the best part about that is it actually shares with you the common hashtag. So let's just say today was National, Cat Lovers Day. They would have a hashtag, National Cat Lovers Day, that you can then follow and jump on board and either use or engage with, because that's where the people are going to be on that day. So there's a little tip about obviously how to engage in terms of hashtags as well. Now, 2/3 of consumers who are satisfied with brand interactions over social media are likely to recommend that brand to others. So again, really important that people have a positive experience with you on social media. Now, the next one I'm sure is going to be very contentious, and I have lots of discussions all the time with my clients about my next point, but the statistics are there. I'm very stats and facts based, and I think people do just need to step back a little bit and really look at the stats before they make judgments on emojis. Now, a lot of people feel that emojis are very unprofessional to use. Now, I'm not going to say that I agree or disagree with that, but some platforms prefer emojis than others. So for instance, on LinkedIn, I tend to generally not do emojis. However, on Facebook and Instagram, there is proof that the use of emojis are extremely successful in building a rapport with your audience, actually portraying your business as a more friendly business in comparison to their competitors, but also it kind of shows your tone of voice, and it can really help break down something, especially if it's a bit of a tough topic to write about. So as we can see here, the use of emojis increases engagement by 48% on Instagram. So posts that use emojis on Instagram have an interaction rate of 2.21%, whilst posts without emojis only have 1.77%. And whilst that may not seem great, It is actually a really strong difference. And emojis in a Facebook post lead to 57% more likes, 33% more comments, and 33% more shares. So again, don't go crazy. You don't need to shove 24 emojis in your posts, but use them. Okay, there's a variety of emojis out there, especially at the moment. You know, Christmas trees, there's a Santa, there's a present, there's a little celebration thing. Even if you just intertwine them throughout your posts, I really think that you will find that it makes a difference. And I would love for you to track that and you know, come back to me and say, hey, this hasn't worked. And then we can have a bit of a look at what you're doing and whether it's the copy or the emojis or your hashtags. But I really, really, really want to push emojis and let you know that they are obviously very successful for certain platforms. Now, personalization. Again, I love this quote. Just as no business would ignore a customer in their store, no business should leave a social media comment unattended online. Exactly the same as Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman, okay? You would not want to be ignored as a customer in an online store, in a store. Do not treat them like that either online. So my theory is that if people take the time to respond to you, then it's your responsibility to respond back. Can you believe that 89% of social messages go ignored? Okay, that number is way too high. It is not hard, even if you allocate time each day. I'm not saying that your response to the social media message has to be, you know, instantaneous, but it does need to be responded to. And people base 70% of their buying decisions on how they feel. So how are you making people feel when they're interacting with you on social media? Are you making them feel positive? Are you making them feel loved, valued, treasured? Or are you making them feel like they're a bit of a nuisance? All right, have a bit of a think about that because you want people to have a positive response to your brand. And 30% of people will go to a competitor if a brand doesn't respond. Hand on heart, I have 100% done this. I have often sent people messages on social media and have not received a response. And I think to myself, okay, I know that my message might go into message requests and they might not see it and things like that. But I have 100% gone to a competitor because people have not responded to me on social media. People expect you to be there, okay? Not all the time, not 24/7, but they do expect you to be there. So a little tip, particularly for Instagram, is keep an eye on your direct messages because sometimes if you haven't had conversations with people before, you'll find that the message will go into a little thing called message requests, which is just purely in your direct messages anyway on Instagram, but it'll say, you know, one message request, and sometimes people just totally don't even see that. And that's how things obviously get ignored as well. So just be really mindful of that. This was a really interesting stat for me. The cost of being shunned on social media. Again, more likely to go to a competitor, less likely to use their product or service, less brand loyalty, and more likely to post negative feedback. So are you seeing a theme here in that it is really, really important to have a very big social presence, okay? It should be included. Social media should be included as part of your marketing mix. It is not the be all and end all. It is not necessarily saying that you still don't need, you know, a website and print and digital and all that type of stuff, but social media should have a big impact in your organization. So start conversations with DMs. All right, if you get a new follower, send them a message like I mentioned before. Say thanks. Are you heading to a conference? Contact the speakers. So I did a few conferences towards the end of this year, and I sent a message to the presenters that I thought were fantastic, just letting them know that I really, really liked them. Have you met someone at an event? Are you going for a coffee with somebody? Like, what is it that you're doing? Send them a message. Say, hey, thanks so much. I really appreciated your webinar. I really appreciated the information that you gave. And I put it out there to you guys. I would love for you to put this into play. All right, look me up on Instagram, Peak Our Social, send me a message. Say to me, you know, what you enjoyed about the webinar, what you didn't enjoy, what I could do better next time, or tell me something that you really learned from it. All right, I really want to connect with you guys. I want to really hear what you have to say. And I really do. I really open it up to you. Let me know your thoughts across social media because I will take the time to respond back to you and learn from you and just see what could be done, obviously, moving forward. Now, gifts. Now, something that a lot of people have a negative association with. They think that it is, again, very immature and very basic, but again, it shows personality, it builds relationships, It embraces your humour, okay? We live in a very serious world these days where there's so much politics and people can't seem to have fun. So it embraces your humour and it helps to encourage conversation. Now, there is a website and an app that you can download called Giphy, Giphy, and that is just an example of how you can embed GIFs into things, particularly sharing it across social media. Giphy is a fantastic resource. So, again, jump online, giphy.com, I believe it is, Giphy, and you can download the app from the App Store or Google Play and embed them in your social media, put them in your stories, start a conversation, get people to comment back as a GIF, using a GIF, show me how your day is today. Again, you'll see there, this is Elaine, she's having a bit of fun. Now, be active on groups. So what are you doing on groups? Are you active? Are you actually commenting on groups? There are so many different Facebook groups and LinkedIn groups out there that you can get on and share information. You can do it on behalf of yourself. You can do it on behalf of the organisation, but it is something that I like to do. I like to be really active on Facebook groups. And just share bits of information, because ultimately they do help to give you that know, like and trust factor, because people will put a question out there like, oh, what's a program that can help you with this, or how would I get around this, or what should I do in this instance? Okay, if you are active on groups, you just never know what type of things that you can learn. But also, you can really do some great, I suppose, it's kind of like focus groups. Put a question out there in a group and just see what people come back with. Depending upon your business, you might ask, what's your biggest problem with this industry? Or if you could change anything in this industry, what would it be? Or do you prefer saving time or money? Or, ask questions, put polls out there and get some information that can help you with your marketing and your relationship building exercises moving forward. Engagement blocks are up to number 6 of 10. Engagement blocks are very, very important. Now, engagement blocks is where you actually allocate a time each day to go online and be really active across hashtags. So what I've got here is just some examples of some of the hashtags that I've used. And what I do is once I've actually posted something, I will just go into a variety of my hashtags and I will click on the hashtag, because obviously hashtags are clickable, and I will just go and engage. I'll go and talk to these people. I will go and, send a message or like their post or make a comment. Again, you build relationships, you engage, you have the ability to grow your follower count. And when you're commenting, you also get your name out there, because people are going to see that you have commented. All right, and that's a really useful tool, engagement blog. So set some time aside each day and actually engage. Now, the next thing I'm doing is I'm showing you a photo of me because, again, I'm wanting to show you authenticity. Now, what is important is that you share photos of who you are. Now, again, I'm talking about this from a business perspective, but let's just say you are managing a associations account or something like that. There is no reasons why you cannot put pictures of stuff on your social media. Okay, do 2 truths and a lie, or get 5 fun facts, or get something out there that shows the people of your organisation. That is really, really important. People want to know who you are and who the people in your organisation are. So people are more likely to trust and be loyal to you and brands when they can see and identify the people. So tell people some facts about you. And the reason why I'm showing you this is because this is not a photo that I would normally put up on my social media. And I know people get really nervous about putting pictures up across social media because they haven't got a filter or they're not looking fantastic. Well, this was a photo of me at a crystal castle at the Gold Coast, makeup on and oily hair. Okay, but again, I put that up there to be like, you know what, this is me in the moment, this is what's happening. So if you have people that are, let's say, packing bags for a trade show, or they're cleaning out a merchandise room, or they're stocking up on something, go and capture that, take photos, all right, share that, start a conversation, let people know what's happening. All right, if you've got a birthday morning tea or something at your office, share that. All right, show people behind the scenes and be authentic with what you're posting. Again, another example, I put something here about, this is me, I'm Brie, this is what I do. I've never watched a Star Wars episode. I've never seen the Titanic. I hate licorice. I love watching The Real Housewives, and I drink 4 cups of tea a day. Again, I have no doubt that people are sitting there going, why is this relevant to me? But why it's relevant is because this started a conversation. I had so many direct messages from this, surprised that I'd never watched Star Wars or the Titanic, and it started a conversation, which then ultimately grew my followers because they were genuine connections. Anyone can double tap a photo, all right? So that might mean, again, if you're a small business doing this, fantastic, you can do this. If you're wanting to get some information about your staff, as I said before, 2 questions and a lie, or 5 fun facts about your staff. There are ways that you can do it which still display the staff behind the organisation in a fun way that is going to build community and actually get people commenting. Add videos. Okay, videos. 90% of the information transmitted to our brain is visual. People want videos, all right? They want videos. A Facebook executive predicted that their platform will be all video and no text by 2021. Now, if you think about Facebook now, there often is a lot of text. People are putting a lot of text up there about their day and, what food they ate or something like that. The fact that Facebook think that they're going to have no text by 2021, interesting space. 59% of executives say that they would rather watch a video than read text. Now, I put this out to you, all right? I recently did an experiment where I created some text and I made it a post. I then made it a video and then I compared the results. And video by far provided better results. I then used that video as ads for Facebook, and again, provided really great, strong results. So this is something that I'm going to speak about in a moment about trends for 2020. The video is going nowhere. Jump online, get a great video app, or subscribe to a video maker. It will be very beneficial for you. Stories. Love stories. Have some fun with stories. Okay, they are not meant to be the perfectly crafted post. They are meant to be fun with stickers, and they're meant to potentially have music or a poll or some questions, or put a picture up there, or put a GIF or something like that. Put something that's fun. Stories on Facebook are growing 15 times faster than newsfeed sharing. And 36% of businesses use Instagram stories for product promotion. Instagram stories are going nowhere. Either of Facebook stories. There are constantly being, amendments made to stories to make it more fun, engaging, and to actually get people to participate. So it is something that is not going anywhere, and you need to jump on board stories. It is just, it is so much fun. You can add humor, you can add filters, you can add questions, you can add all sorts of things. And it is something that I would really suggest you get on board with. Live video. Okay, again, this is my lovely cat Chanel. Again, I'm being authentic. I'm showing a photo of myself. Would not normally do that. Okay, but the trend is showing that people want to know the brand and the people behind the brand. So 80% of people would rather watch live video from a brand than read a blog. And 82% of people love watching videos from a brand as opposed to reading social media posts. Why? Why is that the case? Because it's more interactive, it's more fun to watch, it shows people who you are, and it builds a relationship. All right, so video as well as live video is really something that you just need to get on board with. And I know that I said I was only going to give you 10, but I couldn't help myself and I had to give you information on hashtags. Now, if you're not already, invest some time in hashtags. I know it's a word that people kind of look at me when I say hashtags because I get very excited. I've spent a long time, about 6 hours, I think, fine-tuning all my hashtags, but it helps to categorize your content. It does increase your engagement and your reach, and it does help to, it helps get your engagement up, especially when you're using location tags on your pages and your posts. So that is a really useful example. So just, when you're putting something up, put a location of Sydney or Melbourne or Brisbane or something like that, because that will help your engagement. Now, just really quickly, companies that are doing it really well, JetBlue Airways, Robert Walsh was having a bit of a complaint about the worst baggage service ever. They came on board and said, hey, we're really sorry for the inconvenience, Robert. Delayed luggage is definitely frustrating. We'll do what we can to get it back ASAP. Again, they're using social media as a customer service tool. Again, Maybelline New York, fantastic. All I want for Christmas is you, just kidding, get me makeup. So Maybelline offer makeup. All I want for Christmas is you is a very popular song by Mariah Carey. So they're playing on that kind of holiday season. Again, really funny, really interesting, really engaging, and got 153 retweets, which is fantastic. Airbnb, all right? The best thing about polls and questions is that when people vote, it starts the conversation. All right, I know that when I put stickers up or something like that on my stories and people answer me, I engage back, which starts a conversation. Okay, Adam Dickerson, now he was talking here to Samsung, and what I love about this particular example is Samsung have done it really well. They greet the customer with their actual name, so they don't just have a generic kind of template, they actually include Adam's name, which makes that person feel like their comment or their complaint is I suppose, appreciated. And the fact that they've signed off with the rep name, you know, Des, again, means that Adam has a point of contact. If he ever then wants to speak to somebody in Samsung again, he can say, look, I spoke to Des. And you'll see there, he took an hour to respond. So Des took an hour to respond once Adam had sent his, Facebook comment. So I think that is, again, within the consumer expectations of 0 to 4 hours. So just a few little things, some tools that can help you with social media engagement. I currently use Agora Pulse. Again, this is not sponsored at all. I have tried a variety of tools. It is slightly more expensive, but it is a great tool to monitor your social media comments. Iconosquare and Mention also do that as well. And just really be active on your Facebook, LinkedIn and Instagram insights. Keep in mind that you can set up notifications to receive when people comment on your posts as well. So you don't even need to invest in a paid tool. You can absolutely just ensure that your notifications are switched on. And that way, obviously, you'll get notified when people have commented on your posts. So I did say in my information that I wanted to talk very briefly about trends for 2020. I think it's really important that people kind of reflect, particularly over, the holidays and the start of the new year as to what their plans are for social media. And here are just a few little snapshots of what to expect for 2020 and beyond. So video will be the primary type of content. So I just spoke to you about video and how important video is. It is honestly becoming the platform that people want to look at. It's easy to view, it's engaging, it's easy to consume. Put subtitles on your video. It makes life easier because most people these days are watching videos without sound. Instagram's algorithm actually shows preference to videos, so keep that in mind when you're doing your social media. There are certain websites out there like, Content Samurai. I actually met a key person in Content Samurai at a conference I went to, and he was fantastic, and I really love the app. Sorry, I should say the website, it's fantastic. So jump onto Content Samurai and have a look. People will continue to share news. Now, Forbes conducted a survey, and 50% of the surveyed respondents actually said that they hear news from social media. So because everyone's spreading news, what they do is that they hear the news on social media, and then they actually go to the necessary news sites. So continue to share information on social media, continue to be a thought leader, and just continue to share information that you feel is relevant to your target audience. Engagement will continue to be a focus. As I mentioned previously, live video is really important. It allows people to actually see what you're doing, comment and engage with you there and then. That's just like priceless for people. And obviously comments and shares, you want people to do that. You want people to comment and share, so give them something that's worthy of a comment and a share. Now, chatbots are becoming more advanced because of the expectations that customers have in terms of response rates. Chatbots are just becoming more human-like and providing better service. So there are a variety of different chatbot services out there. So connect with me on social media, ask me that question. More than happy to give you some information on that. But there are some courses as well that you can do to kind of help build a chatbot. And there are certain services that are available inside Facebook that help to kind of do automatic replies, just to kind of give that customer a response kind of then and there. Facebook groups, again, are something that Mark Zuckerberg has put a lot of emphasis on, that whole community collaboration. So that is going to continue to flourish in 2020. And live content is certainly going to continue to dominate, as I mentioned before. Live video, you know, on your feed, as well as just live video on Instagram or Facebook or or LinkedIn, sorry. And even things like stories, you know, just kind of showing people the then and the there. Now, one other thing that I wanted to add was that in 2020, people are going to be really wanting to get short, crisp information, okay? We saw this year that there were a lot of stories that were kind of preferred rather than feed posts because they were short, sharp, you know, 15 seconds, obviously, stories, whereas it often takes people longer than 15 seconds to read the information in a post. So because we know that there are so many people watching stories, where possible, get behind stories and actually, you know, show your face, and where possible, spread that information that you would put in your post through your stories. Or put the post up on Instagram or Facebook or whatever it might be, and then do a story kind of going, hey, you know, summarise a little bit about what you put on the post, because people are wanting information very short, succinct, crisp information, so they don't have to spend a lot of time reading or watching something because they are time poor. And we know that these days attention span of humans is getting smaller. And just the last point that I didn't put on there, but I mentioned throughout, is obviously just, you know, personalization. You know, send a message to people, use their name, and as I mentioned before, Samsung did it really well. They had the person's name Adam in there, so when they made a complaint, his information was there, okay? He could then refer back to it. It was very personalised. When people write you an email, there's nothing worse than when they say to the marketing manager or to the social media manager. It just shows they've not done their research. So when you're sending LinkedIn requests, make sure you add a note, make sure you personalise it, all right? If you're sending social media messages, Facebook or Instagram, send a message. If their name is on their profile, write their name. Have a little bit of a look, see if they put their name in the last few posts, all right? That personalisation is just so important, and especially responding back to people on social media. Write their name, tag them, and just say, you know, thanks so much, Shauna, for your comment. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this in your day, all right? Give them a reason to continue to follow you. So just in wrapping up, I wanted to allow some time for questions. Here are some key takeaways. Obviously, engagement does take time, and we have said that before. You need to be willing to do it properly. You will form connections, okay? You 100% will form connections if you regularly engage. You need to also know when your audience is online, okay? Which platform and what content they have, and what content they like. Change up the style of writing. Nurture them and expose them to your brand so that if they can become your biggest advocate, but you've got to give them a reason to become your biggest advocate. Right, think about it. When you go to a shop or a hotel or something like that, what makes you tick? You know, do you like good customer service? Do you like good quality? Do you like it when they say your name, or what do you like? And just picture that people want the same thing. All right, they want good service, they want access to people, they want access to information, especially if they're spending money on a membership or something like that. They are wanting to know that they are a priority. So they are the key takeaways from today. Feel free, as I mentioned before, to follow me on Instagram at PinkHouseSocial, or connect with me on LinkedIn or Facebook. But I wanted to allow some time, Tina, for questions. So if there's any questions, please just let me know.
Thanks, Brianna. We do have a couple of questions. The first one is, what video app would you recommend? Would you just take the video on your phone?
Great question. So look, these days it's a really interesting one because phones can take such great videos. Yeah. So particularly if I'm doing stories, I generally would just take a video on my phone, and then I would just post it up onto the stories. If I'm taking a video to actually put on my feed, I have the iPhone, I think the second latest iPhone, so it has a good camera on it. So again, I just post that on the feed. But there are out there, like I mentioned before, Content Samurai, and you can actually create like promotional type videos on their platform, and then they're super easy to share on your social media.
Thanks, Brianna. Next question is, I'm very interested in learning more about how to make good hashtags. Do you have any pointers for places to go for more information?
Okay, so hashtags is something that I could talk about forever, and it's probably not something that is going to be answered really quickly. So feel free to connect with me on socials, and I can share with you a few of my resources. But with hashtags, what it's definitely about is definitely about looking at things like your competitors' hashtags. I kind of associate it with something like SEO. So what type of words would people be looking for your business? So for me, it's social media management or social media management Sydney or something like that. So I really would very much be looking at what people will be searching for to find your business or your organisation or something like that. And what I also like to do is I also go onto Instagram and I type in a hashtag and then I look at the related hashtags because they're hashtags that are similar to what I put in, but also are different, but still very much in line with my target market. So whoever asked that question, it's a great question. Very hard to summarise. I actually spend quite a bit of time talking about hashtags in all of my courses. So please feel free to reach out to me and I'm happy to give you some more information, but it's something that just requires a little bit more detail. But yeah, definitely look at competitors, look at related hashtags on Instagram. There are heaps of different apps on your phone and things on the website, but I much prefer to do the research myself. And the other thing that I can recommend with hashtags is that you do use a variety of hashtags. Obviously, you can use up to 30 on Instagram. I would use all the 30. I know there's people out there that would say that looks tacky, but I really think that that's just going to help your reach. But use hashtags that have range in size. And I don't mean character count, but I mean, some hashtags might have, 100,000, uses, or one might have 2, or one might have, 50,000. So just make sure that you use a combination of small to large hashtags because you'll find that that's also going to help your reach. If you're using hashtag groups that have a lot of hashtags in them, your post just isn't going to be seen.
Thanks, Brianna. That's all for questions. Was there anything you wanted to add before I wrap up the session?
No, thank you so much, obviously, Tina, for having me. I would love to connect with people, as I mentioned before. I am all about connecting and engaging, so feel free to follow me on social media, and I would love to continue chatting about anything that you need. So thank you, Tina, for having me, and have a great Christmas, everybody.
Great. Thank you so much, Brianna, for presenting today. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. I hope you've all learned a lot from the presentation and that your questions have been answered. If you do have any other questions that come to mind later on or any feedback at all, please send that through to events@connectingup.org and we will answer those offline. Don't forget the recording will be available on our website very shortly and a link will be sent to you. So keep an eye out on your inbox. Again, thank you for being with us. Enjoy the rest of your day and we hope you all have a very safe and Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We look forward to seeing you all online again next year. Thanks, everyone.